Welcome back to another Realtor Spotlight. I'm Richard Whittington. Today we've got Mark Parrish with us. Welcome, Mark.
Oh, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Good to have you. You've been with us, what, 3-4 years now?
Yep, this time.
All right.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm born and raised here in Oklahoma City. I mean, I'm Moore, I guess, is the best way to say it.
You went to Moore schools?
Yeah.
Oh,
Moore High School.
Moore High School. Was there another Moore at the time?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not that old yet.
Okay.
So
How old do you? When did Westmore?
I think it was like 5 or 6 years before me, so like early 90s maybe late 80s.
Okay, I think it was late 80s. Prior to the tornado, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, all right, so you're from Moore. Ever been out of the state? You've been here all your life?
Yeah. When I was in the military, in the Air Force, I mean, I went all over the place. Spent some time in Panama City Beach, Florida, Hampton, Virginia.
So Air Force?
Yeah.
Okay. So but you never were a tinker.
No.
Is that a bad deal or is that good?
Well, yeah, because I didn't want to come right back to where I was, part of the reason of getting in the military is so you can go away and whatnot. And the last thing I wanted to do was come back to Oklahoma. I knew some guys that happened to, so.
And yet you came back. And
yeah, I think, but here's the thing is, with Oklahoma, like I made a Facebook post about this the other day, like if you are from Oklahoma,
right,
especially being raised in the 80s and 90s, because there wasn't anything to do here in those times.
Who's 12th Street?
Yeah, that was about the highlight of it, or
right,
36 or 39th Expressway,
right,
but and then you left and then you came back. Like you just don't have an appreciation for Oklahoma City. We have like the best of pretty much everything, in my opinion, and people are still friendly. So,
sure. And you can afford a place.
Yeah, that's true. I remember when we first moved out to the East Coast, I went through a drive-through and like they literally threw my food out of the window into my car, and I was like, well, yeah, this isn't Oklahoma.
Where was this?
Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little different.
Right. All right. So you're back in Oklahoma. You didn't get right into real estate. You did some other things, right?
Yeah, I kind of bounced around to some different sales jobs. I mean, I've done staffing. I've sold electrical supplies. I've sold lighting kits to home builders. I've sold semi trucks.
I think that's what you were doing before you started.
Yeah, I sure did.
Really. What got you into real estate? How'd you get to that point?
So I always kind of had an idea that I liked real estate, and I always wanted to get into it. Never pulled the trigger or anything. And what really got me into real estate is, I met this lady. I was going through a divorce, and I met this lady. She was a realtor. I was dating her friend at the time, and of course, her being a realtor, she's asked me the shortest script in the world, like, so do you own your own home?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I don't own my own home. I probably never will.
How old were you then?
Oh, it's probably 10 years ago, so early 30s.
Okay.
So, and she asked me, she's like, why do you say that you probably won't ever own a home? And it was just, going through a divorce, your credit gets messed up, and there's just all kinds of bad things that come along with it. And she said, she was like, well, I can get you into a house eventually. It took 2 years to get me where I needed to be to get into a house. And we finally got a house and everything. And it just made me want to get into the business because I felt like she really helped me.
Right.
I wouldn't have done it without her.
Who was it?
Lupe, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember. The name's familiar.
Yeah, she's been around for a while.
Still?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you came to work with us. You had been a realtor prior to that, correct?
Yeah.
Where were you before that?
Oh, man. So I was a brokerage hopper, okay? I went from Bold Real Estate, Bold Realty.
Okay.
And then, of course, they went to Berkshire Hathaway.
Well, that wasn't your choice.
No, that wasn't my choice.
Right.
And then went from Berkshire Hathaway to you.
Right.
And then left you, went to KW, Keller Williams. Then I went to EXP. I think it was somewhere in that order. And then eventually I came back to you.
Yeah, I didn't know you went to KW. Which one? Green Meadow?
Platinum.
Oh, up in the north. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I do think I remember that. Yeah, yeah. So you're back now. What have you learned through all these jumping, and what have you seen different? How people do business different? I guess I'm hoping you learned something from each one of these places.
Well, I learned what I don't like,
Okay.
which is, a ton of oversight. Which I mean, everybody needs oversight, and I still need oversight.
Right.
But the biggest thing that I learned was, everybody's business is different, and you can run this business in so many different ways, and what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. So I learned a lot of what I don't like. Is really the biggest thing. Um, like I said, I was with you one time before. I didn't know how good I had it until I left and went to somebody else and was like, yeah, no, this is for the birds. Too many people.
Right.
It's not like they're standing over you saying, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. But it's just, they want certain things from you. And I feel like I'm talking in circles.
No, I get it. I think you had mentioned when we were talking earlier that what you appreciated about us is that we didn't necessarily push on the fact that you need to promote Whittington Realty.
Yeah.
Which I think, from the public's perspective of a realtor, I don't know that they really put you with Whittington Realty or put you with another brokerage. They look at you as more Parrish. So I feel like for us, we need to allow you to be able to promote yourself. And I think that's important. But like I said earlier, obviously you've got to include brokerage when you do your marketing and things like that,
Right.
which I appreciate that they did that, which I don't have to enforce that. But that's good. So, but I think that, our real estate really is just about the realtor. And I think maybe you learned that over the 4 or 5 different places you were at. It's just you. It's really about you and then what we can provide from you, whether what plan that we set you up on as far as our commission splits or what we expect and whatnot.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is, you look at it as a different way than a lot of people, I think, is what it is. If I'm successful, you will be successful.
Right.
As opposed to the brokerage has to be successful first, then the realtor.
Right.
And I think it's the other way around because, just like I said, if I'm not successful, you're not successful.
Right. We when I started with the national brand, I was there 14, 15 years. I moved with the team that we had for a short time to a small brokerage, and then we started this up. But I don't really think anybody identifies me with any one of those places necessarily, other than who I am.
No, they just know Whittington.
Right. They know me or they know you. So I think that's where it is important for you to be able to promote yourself and sell yourself. One of the things that we also talked about earlier, I don't know that you answered it, but it'd be a good time to do it now, was you've been in it for 6, 7 years now?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What's something that you know now, you've learned about real estate that's obvious to you that you didn't know when you got in?
It's a lot harder work than I thought it was going to be.
Okay? Like, in what capacity?
You just got to be more intentional with what you do and how you spend your time. It's very easy to get, distracted in this business.
Right.
And with that being said, I don't know. There's a lot of different things. It's a lot of different things.
Sure.
The business is not as easy as people think it is.
One of the things that I remember after having some really good years, but then at the end of the year having no money.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah. And this business can fool you that way because there are so many different ways that you can spend money within our business, like as opposed to having another where you just work for somebody, you don't spend any money there, you just make money.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have to spend money and move on, but one of the things I've learned is, budgeting, was really important as far as what I'm going to spend, so when I meet my goals, I'll have X amount.
Yeah.
So.
And one of the things that I've learned is that it's okay to take an old model of how to do a business and still implement it even in today's world. Like try to no reason to try to reinvent the wheel. You can add spokes to the wheel,
Sure.
but there's no reason to reinvent it.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot. You know, you asked what is one of the things I've learned is to keep my eye out for people who shouldn't say people, but businesses that just try to make things easier for you to increase your business. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, those don't work. You know what I mean? Like, you get a widget or just some program or something that says, "I'll make you rich quick. You don't have to make your phone calls. You don't have to do this to get your business." 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work. 9.9 times.
No, you're right. I think the wheel has been built.
Yeah.
And I think, in my almost 25 years of real estate, the only one significant change, and there's probably a lot of little ones, but significant, was the internet. When we first started, the internet wasn't there, so we didn't have the access that we have now. But that has changed real estate somewhat, not as much as you would think. It's still just a relationship business. So, all right, we'll close it up with what's one thing about you that most people don't know?
There's a few things. There's a few things that people don't know about me. Pretty hard on myself. I'm a worrier, not as in fighting warrior. I worry all the time.
Right.
You've said that before.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hard on myself.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. You do that. Does that motivate you? Is that what gets you going, or is that a reaction, or is that something that you do intentionally to get yourself motivated?
More and more, I'm starting to do that to get myself motivated. But in the past, it's always just been, I call it stupid tax.
Stupid tax?
Yes.
TAX?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I get for being stupid.
Oh.
That's my tax I have to pay. Now I got to fix it. And then I get motivated to get it fixed and everything like that, and try not to ever do it again.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
All right. Mark Parrish, everybody. We'll see you next week.